Okay, so hey everybody, welcome to another series that I am doing for World Doula Week 2021. Today I have the opportunity to talk to a newborn care specialist. She's also a nanny, and we're also going to talk about postpartum doulas just because I feel like that all kind of is married into everything that she does. So I am going to let our special guest introduce herself. I'll let you tell a little bit about your story, and then we'll just dive right in and start to dissect the different roles that you can play in the fourth trimester for growing families. So, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Chevelle Frederick. I'm a newborn care specialist, elite newborn care specialist out of the Dallas area. And I'm also a agency owner. I co-own Harmony Baby Concierge with my business partner, Alexis Courtney-Torres. And I've been a newborn care specialist for about 4.5, 5 years or so. I've worked for other agencies. I've worked as an independent and then started an agency a little over a year ago with my business partner. And prior to that, I was a nanny. Um, I started nannying in about 2012. I fell into it actually. I went back to school after having a complete different career in a completely different career field, and went back to school. Was going to do nursing and be a NICU nurse. That was my goal, but completely changed things because I'm horrible at math. So I so I decided to go into some to psychology and anthropology. But while I was in college and going through, full-time schedule, I fell into nannying. I began with an infant and a little toddler. And then my big jump into kind of babies was I worked for a single dad by choice as a nanny with his 2-month-old twins. It started working overnights and ended up just really loving infants and found that was my niche. And then about 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago, I had been hearing about being a newborn care specialist. I took some training. An agency took a chance on me, and then the rest is history. And so now I actually have my own agency, and I'm very busy, and I love what I do.
Wow. Okay. So let's start at the beginning. So you started off as a nanny and then you went into like newborn care specialist sort of like role. So kind of like what is the difference? People might be thinking like if you're a nanny, aren't you a newborn care specialist? So how do you describe what's the difference between the two?
So, being a nanny, you can work with all different types of ages and different types of roles. Some nannies work only with children. Maybe they work with toddlers. Maybe they work with school age children. Right now, a lot of nannies, because school is remote and virtual, they're doing a lot of education work that they weren't really meant to do. Some nannies do housework if they are. Um, if that's what they negotiate in their contract. They'll do a lot of housework for the whole family or whatever. And some people are just, there's temporary nannies, there's travel nannies, there's all a huge, a plethora of different types of roles that you can play in that. And most of the time you're dealing with socialization of children. You probably driving them back and forth to school. Um, you are, like I said, educating them at home now. It's more individualized care during the day also. Um, uh, Most nannies, you may hear the term night nanny, which is very similar to newborn care, but there's a little bit of a difference. They're not doing as much education, but a newborn care specialist actually educates the parents on how to really how to learn how to be with their baby, how to teach them how to sleep, developmental milestones that they may meet, helping them with feeding, helping them with getting rest overnight. So there's a lot of there's a big difference, because also as a nanny you kind of take your your instruction from the parent. The parent is the employer. They're really directing your day of kind of what they want done with their child, versus a newborn care specialist. You're actually in there to help teach the parents how to deal with the baby. And most of that is done overnight, not always though. So there's a little bit of a difference as far as doing that. Myself, I did it simultaneously. I was actually kind of a hybrid. So I actually started nannying. And then when I got into newborn care, I started doing 2 to 3 nights a week working with clients, while still doing my nanny job during the day. And then eventually, about a year and a half ago, I just went completely over to newborn care, because my clients were demanding more nights of my time. So it's just a very big difference.
So, Chevelle, talk a little bit about like newborn care specialist training, right? Because I saw a fantastic webinar with you through Newborn Care Solutions, and that's how I actually found out about you. So, for people who may be wondering, like, what does it mean and what does it look like to train as a newborn care specialist? Can you talk a little bit about like what you learned and like kind of what that process was going through that training and certification?
Yes. So I started off with foundational training through Newborn Care Solutions Institute, is actually where I took that training, and I've taken most of my training through them. Um, so the foundational is really just about feeding, which is about swaddling, is teaching you about the developmental milestones of a baby from when they first get home from the hospital, different maybe skin conditions that they may have, what a normal baby looks like, from head to toe, just all different types of, just kind of, it's not baby 101, but it really does go into how to help parents transition kind of into parenthood, and how to help them overnight, different things that may happen overnight, how to do tummy massage when they have gas, what a lip tie looks like if they have a lip tie or a tongue tie, and then the kind of resources to get to help parents through that. So the training was great because it gave me a lot of information. Um, and since then, because I just loved it, I've taken new parent through different programs, new parent educator training, because I would like to, I wanted to know how to better teach my parents, and what other learning um, different ways that people learn, and what's how to best deliver the information, and how to make it fun sometimes. I have taken a sleep training course that specifically talks about, how to get a baby to stretch longer at night. I've also taken, let's see, postpartum doula is something that I do a little bit of, but I would love to take a class. I just haven't had time to do so. But what else? Respectful newborn care. I've taken a class for that. All of those things kind of develop you into the best newborn care specialist that you can be, and how to relate to parents, because dealing with babies is, and helping the babies overnight is one aspect of it, but you also have to be supportive of the parent, of teaching them what to do when you're not there, what's normal, what's not normal, what they should go to their pediatrician for. So those are all parent education pieces that go into the role as well. And some of that you just have to learn as you go, learn how to support parents as you go for that.
I love that. Okay, so talk about some of the things that you think are excellent characteristics to have if you want to be a newborn care specialist.
So I feel like if you have an easy time talking to parents and making sure that they feel at ease, because after going through birth, it's pretty traumatic, especially if it's a first time parent. They don't know what they're doing. They hear things from their mother-in-law, they hear things from their sister, they hear things from their neighbor down the street, and then they don't know that they are empowered. They are that baby's advocate. And so I love to build up a parent. So if you have the ability to talk to people, and make them feel at ease and make them feel comfortable. You have to be a good listener, because sometimes what they're telling you and what they're doing, actually what you see them doing, are two different things. So you need to be able to listen and hear what they're saying, and also kind of interpret what they're trying to say and what they really want to do. Being a problem solver, because your brain is actually working really well while mom's brain is still kind of in a fog. They have hormones that are trying to regulate. They sometimes can be very emotional with their baby, and they just don't know. Oh, I forgot. You have to warm up a bottle. Or, oh, I forgot. Babies don't need to be in front of the television at 10 o'clock at night with all the lights on. Oh, just so really being able to communicate and talk to them in a very supportive way, but also getting them to kind of see the light, so to speak, and trying to come back to earth from having their baby. That's really important. So if you can be a good communicator, be a problem solver, be very supportive, and also a good teacher, then I think those are some really great qualities that help parents.
Yeah, I love what you said about information coming in from different sources, right? So, as a postpartum doula, sometimes we can give an assessment of some things that we've noticed or challenges that we've seen while we're caring for a newborn baby that we may have to deliver to like the parents because they may or may not be aware. And so, the information that we're telling them may or may not contradict with information that they've gotten from like a healthcare provider. So, like when you are in that situation and that is brought to you by the parents that the healthcare provider may have said something different or suggested something different, how do you navigate that situation, right?
So I always just let parents know, okay, that sounds interesting. That's something, and to make sure that it's something that maybe if you don't know, be open to learning and go back and do some research too, just to make sure. But I let parents know, hey, that's some very interesting information. Um, if so, for example, if it's about sleep, I can explain to them, well, that may be true. In my experience with all the babies that I've dealt with, this is what I've seen work and what hasn't worked. Your pediatrician is right about XYZ, but I've also seen this happen. And I know when my most successful clients have done whatever it is that I'm trying to get them to do. Um, and I'll use storytelling a lot to emphasize that what I'm telling them actually works. And it may take two or three, oh, I had a baby here that was doing this. It may contradict what the pediatrician says, but I can explain to them that baby is now sleeping, through the night, and they're 10, 12 weeks old. Oh yes, I had this problem with this baby, and the pediatrician said something very similar, but this was the outcome, you know. And I also asked them, if you're not really sure, maybe get a second opinion. Sometimes we get pediatricians that are very set in their ways and very, um, they don't have up to date information. And so I also encourage parents to do their research, as well. So just trying to kind of plant seeds in their mind of, well, that sounds great, and that may be true, and whatever it is you want to do, that's what we'll try, because I'm here to support you. But I also know that this has helped, and if you're not ready to try that, then I'm not going to push, because that's going to make them not trust me and not think that I'm being supportive, because at the end of the day, that baby belongs to that parent, you know.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about that. So, we are in a time where we are strangers, right? Coming into someone's home, and we do want to build trust and have strong communication. So, do you have tips for things that we can do when we do meet a new family for the first time and we're just getting to know each other and we are going to have a long relationship of like 4 or 6 or 12 weeks? Like, what can we begin to do to introduce ourselves and build trust with that family, especially as a newborn care specialist?
As a newborn care specialist, I say one of the most important things to have before you even arrive to that family is a great resume. and letters of recommendation, um, or references, somebody, if you've worked with them, a baby before, even if they are an older baby, a family that you've worked with that really just sung your praises. Make sure that they have that available. If you have been a nanny, or if you have been a postpartum doula and you had a great experience with a client, if you've done some babysitting, and you don't have a lot of experience, but you have some babysitting that you've done, and you've worked with a family that really, you clicked with, have a great letter of recommendation. And then when you first talk to that client, or that potential client or client, um, make sure that you're warm and fuzzy. That's really, I think, what helps a lot. Being real, being your genuine self. Be who you want to be when you show up to their house every night. Don't be nice and fuzzy. And then all of a sudden, when you get to their house, you're kind of cold and distant and it's your way or the highway. Because, like I said, ultimately, being supportive is making sure that that family understands that this is their baby and you're here to help them. And you want to do whatever you can to make this experience um, as wonderful as possible. You have an opportunity to help parents at the very beginning of becoming a family. And so if you can understand what that means, that word means, family, and how families bond and grow together, encouraging, I don't have a problem saying, sometimes parents are like, can I hold my baby? You absolutely can hold your baby. Can I feed my baby? Come on in here and sit down next to me and feed them, and be a listening ear. That's how you gain people's trust with the most precious thing that they have, experienced. Um, so be that warm and fuzzy, warm hug. Someone told me one time I sounded like I was a warm hugs, and I was like, oh, so I try to be that for every client that I can be. So
Talk a little bit about your newborn care specialist bag. So, having a doula bag is like big in the doula world, especially as a labor doula. But I'm also realizing that as a postpartum doula and serving people in the fourth trimester, it does mean having things available, especially for like overnight care. So, is there anything that you pack in like a bag that you take with you every time you're serving a client?
I probably take it mostly in the beginning, then towards the end, because they'll usually get whatever products I'm looking for. So I ask parents if they have a sound machine. Most, not all, but most newborn care specialists will use a sound machine. I usually try to talk to them about it before I start, but if they don't, I will grab mine off of my dresser and bring it with me, or I'll have one on my phone, an app on my phone. I bring a baby log and make sure that I log in everything that I'm doing overnight, so I can tell the parents during, the handoff in the morning, this is how much they ate. This is how much they had gas a little bit. This is what I did. It also, I'm giving instruction, and it also gives them trust. Again, what we were talking about before, that I am attending to their baby. Sometimes I take different swaddles with me, depending on how big or how little the baby is and which one works best. I have my own swaddles. That first night, I may take a baby doll with me so that I can kind of have them do it as I'm doing it. But I take that rarely, but sometimes that. A baby shusher, that people have the baby shusher actual device themselves. I actually use mine on my phone so that I don't have to carry a bunch of stuff with me. And it works just as great. And you can adjust um, the volume up or down. What else do I have in there? Mostly swaddles, like I said. Oh, I do have it's a little rubber glove that actually has like rice in it. So it kind of feels like you have your hand over the baby. And if they need to feel like they always need to, be being touched, it kind of helps to just give a little bit of pressure here on top of the chest as if you're holding them. But I don't use that too often. It's just for those babies that are just like, hold me, because I don't hold babies all night long. I don't rock them all night long. I actually teach them how to sleep in their crib gently. Um, and so Sometimes little babies need a little bit more. But oh, and I have a red flashlight. I have a red flashlight that I use because white light has a lot of blue light that's stimulating behind the eyes. And so at night, while I'm fumbling around in the dark trying to help a baby out, babies can't see color until they're about what, 5 weeks old or so. And so that helps to kind of disguise, what I'm doing at night, and um, not stimulate them while they're trying to sleep in a dark room sleep environment.
Wow. Okay. Now we're all packed and set. Okay. So you are the marketing maven, which I know from talking to you just a little bit offline about like different ways to get in front of people who may be looking for your services. So for people who do want to start to market as like a nanny, a postpartum doula, or a newborn care specialist, can you talk about some of the awesome tips that you have for getting out in front of families and getting booked and busy?
Yes, it's funny you said that. I just learned by experience. I like networking a lot with people. I tell everybody what I do. I always have, like, it's when I started nannying in the beginning, up to now. I tell everybody what I do. I might see someone in the store, and pre-COVID, obviously, and say, "Oh my goodness, are you expecting? When are you expecting? Oh, that's awesome. I'm a newborn care specialist. What's that?" "Oh, I take care of babies overnight so parents can get rest while they're sleeping." Oh my gosh, I could have used you when I had, my first baby, or, I'm talking to a grandma, when I was a nanny and I was doing overnights, and nannying during the day, I would take my charge to the park, and, they'd be swinging or whatever, and I'd see a grandma or something, or another nanny. I network with a lot of other nannies, and I tell everybody what I do. Hey, tell your mom boss that, if she's expecting, I'm available. Just talking about it a lot. Not too long ago, I was getting my nails done, and this lady came in, and we started talking about her tennis shoes because I had seen them before, and I had questions. And so I said, "Oh, a client of mine had those same shoes." And she said, "A client? What do you do?" She's getting her, services done. And I start talking to her. Next thing I know, I found out she is a pediatrician of one of the largest pediatrician groups here in the area. And she had been looking for someone that she could refer her clients to. And so always have your little elevator speech, is what my personal mentor has taught me, is to make sure you're talking about it. Other things you can do, have your business cards available. And if you don't have a website, if you don't have any of that stuff, either one will work. If you have a website and not business cards or whatever, just have something where people can contact you. I used to post a lot in Facebook groups, in parent Facebook groups, parent nanny groups. People always, "Hey, I'm looking for a nanny," or whatever. And every once in a while, you'll find someone who say, "Hey, I'm looking for recommendations for a night nanny or newborn care specialist or maternity nurse." And what they really mean is a new, overnight person to help watch their babies. Um, does anybody have someone they can recommend? Post in there, respond there, or even have a friend. If you don't want to do it, you're afraid to do it, have a friend tag you. "Oh, I know this person is great with babies overnight." And then you can come in and say, "Oh, thanks for tagging me." Always thank the person who tagged you. Always be gracious. And then comment and say, "Hey, get a hold of me." Um, Even if you can also just make a small ad yourself and say, "Hey, I'm available for overnights. This is what I do. I would love to help serve you. I would love to help you." And then other people can comment, "Oh, I'm contacting you." And then even if that person doesn't respond to your tagging on their post, or if you don't hear anything right away, it's in there now. So when people go to do a search in those groups for night nanny, newborn care specialist, also make sure you use those words, use your hashtags and all of that. Then in their search for it, it will come up. And later on, a year from now, you'll be like, "Oh, how did you hear about me?" Um, I saw it in a Facebook group. You must have made a post a long time ago. So it's always advertising, and that's free. You don't have to pay for ads. You don't have to do a whole lot. Post a picture with you and a baby. Maybe you're holding a baby, something that a parent is going to go, oh, she knows how to do that job. Oh, okay, great. I might contact her. Things like that.
Love, love, love. Okay, so we got some great marketing tips as I knew we would. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And then you used to work solo, right? So I know for instance, like when you're working solo, sometimes you do need like backup or other people that you can refer to. Can you talk a little bit about like how you've built up like your personal like network and community of other people that do what you do?
Absolutely. Pre-COVID and hopefully soon, because everyone's getting vaccinated. Um, I used to meet up with a lot of newborn care specialists for breakfast. We'd all get off a shift at 7:30 or whatever, and whoever had time and could make it, we would set a place to meet in the morning for breakfast. And just all meet up there and say, hey, I'm available, if you know of anyone who's looking for overnight help. Or you can get together a Facebook group, a messenger group. We have a messenger group where we actually post, and pretty often in there, we just check on each other also. But also, hey, can anyone cover my nights tonight? I am not feeling great, or I have to go on vacation, or my client wants extra nights. Does anyone have availability? Fill in, do some fill in work. That's how you get in with those networks. And then two, because a lot of this is built on reputation. You do a great job for your colleague, and they're going to be the first person they think of to send jobs to you. um, Hopefully, again, when the world opens back up again, we can all meet up for different conferences and everything like that too. And even now, reach out to someone who you know is a newborn care specialist or nanny or whatever, and just tell them, hey, I'm in this city or over here, or I travel. A lot of people travel for this. They don't just stay in one market. They will go other places. So you can reach out and say, hey, I would love to get to know you, just like you did for me. You reached into my DMs, and now we've talked, and now we're a resource for each other. So that's how you get to network and meet people, and find work.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about like challenges or things that you wish that you knew when you first started that you know now. So we can just kind of share like some wisdom with people who may be just starting and just hopping into this work.
Whew, all of the things that we talked about just up to now is what I learned. That's why I can roll it off my tongue now, because I learned a lot of that stuff, just by trial and error. Let's see. Um, First off, I think don't try to charge what someone who is seasoned in this work has charged, because um, there's a lot to learn. It does, you just, don't take training and then overnight, okay, I'm a specialist. You have to get your feet wet and learn a little bit. Also, don't market yourself too low, because then you kind of undercut the market, you know, and it's harder to go from, so for example, in the Dallas area, on average, it's 25 to $30 an hour, for experienced newborn care specialist, with a couple of years, not 20 years or anything like that, but anywhere from 2 to 3 years of experience. It's not uncommon for that. But so if you are marketing yourself at $15 an hour, you know, that's going to undercut the market a little bit. And when you do try to come back up and have a higher rate, people may be, it may be harder to do. So find out, do your research on what your market is like for starting out, and kind of where some of the higher paid newborn care specialists are. Um, have This is something I don't normally tell people, but have handouts, have deliverables to help you um, give to your clients. Something I developed over time that made me look and feel more professional was, having a baby schedule to give to a parent, because they're looking for that. They're looking for help once you're gone, even, what do I do with this baby? Now we've prepared all of this time for birth. Now, what do I do with this baby after birth? Um, Make sure you have, like I said, business cards or a website. I did not have a website as an independent just because I couldn't figure it out. It was just hard for me. I don't know why. Now I do. I actually hired someone, my daughter, who is a graphic designer, by her profession. We hired her to put our website together. So if you can't do it yourself, find someone, a friend, whatever. Um, um, Decide who you want to be your ideal client, and also decide who you are going to be as a newborn care specialist. Kind of find your niche. Do you like working with multiples? Can you be an expert at working with multiples? Maybe you're working with babies that have feeding issues. Find your niche, and find your ideal client. So there's a lot of it, but those are some good things to kind of think about before you start.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love that. You dropped so many good gems and so much knowledge. I feel like I want to go ahead and like start to wrap our episode up. What are any like last minute things, tips, tools, resources that you feel like would be helpful to people who are starting out? And then where can people find you online? I know you mentioned like a few things that you might have coming up. So mention anything that you have coming up, any mentorship trainings, anything like that.
So let's see, wrapping up. Don't be afraid to try it. Don't be afraid to find someone as a mentor and be able to ask them questions, and be realistic about working in this field. It's tiring. It is a lot of energy. It's working at night, overnight a lot. Um, and it can be long hours sometimes, and for longer periods of time. So just be realistic of why you're getting into this work. Hopefully it's to support parents and to help babies um, along in their first in the fourth trimester, so to speak. So um, get training. If you want training, it will help you quite a bit. And there's lots of different trainings that help with um, working with babies in that first, or in that um, fourth trimester. So never think that you know everything. You're always going to learn. When a new family is going to teach you something different, a new baby is going to teach you something different. Do your research. Um, so those are some of the things, and yeah, read up on different things, and reach out to people. I think that's very key. um, you can reach me. My company's name is Harmony Baby Concierge, and my email is Chevelle, CHEV as in Victor, ELLE, at harmonybabyconcierge.co. No M, CO. So that's my email. Um, and let's see, did I cover everything? You asked me something else to make sure.
Yeah, I think you did. No, I think you cover everything. I want to thank you so much for everything that you share. I'll make sure to drop all of the links in the description for how people can get a hold of you and get in touch with you if they do have any questions or they want to reach out. And I really appreciate you and the work that you're doing and how you're just showing up in the industry to spread so much knowledge. Like you have such a wealth of knowledge. So thank you so much. The webinar that I've seen with Newborn Care Solutions was fantastic. This episode was just as fantastic. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Eventually, I will have some coaching coming up, but I have to get all of that, all my ducks in a row before I release any of that. But hopefully, I will be able to do more coaching one-on-one. And so I appreciate you reaching out to me. You've given me some ideas when we've had our personal talks. So, and thank you for just being concerned about the industry overall and bringing more information out there to people. It's really important.
Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, guys, so we will see you guys in the next episode. Thank you guys so much for joining and staying all the way to the end. Definitely let us know what you think and hit up Chevelle if you have absolutely any questions. I will bring to you guys any information and updates about her coaching program, so stay tuned.